This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So there's been a bit of a grim update in the saga of motor yacht Fee. This is a yacht that has been arrested, detained in London since 2022, since just after the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. The vessel was arrested by the UK government. And yes, arrested is an official term. People who watch all the time will know, but there's always a comment or two in the comments section saying, making fun of the word arrested. It's an official term for a vessel that can be arrested. The vessel was a brand new yacht built by Royal Husband in the Netherlands, and she was delivered and effectively went straight to London for an award ceremony, which was held in I think January or February 2022. The vessel was due to leave in March and was prevented from leaving shortly after the UK authorities turned up and arrested the vessel. Now, the reason why this is different to all of the other vessels that have been arrested or seized or detained or whatever around the world is that the owner of this yacht is not under any sanctions. We've made various videos about this in the past. I will put some links if you want to go and see those videos. There's a lot of detail in there about what happened at the time and the court updates and things that have happened since. Now, like I said, March 22, it was arrested. It's physically unable to leave the location it's in. There's a lock that had to be opened and to let the vessel out. And the day they were due to leave, that they told the vessel that the lock was out of order, so they couldn't leave. And the next day, the authorities turned up and arrested the vessel. So whether or not that lock was ever out of service, I don't know. Since then, there's been a number of appeals in the UK courts by the owner. A number of news articles from different CNN, BBC stuff happened with this vessel. Now, up until we did our video on the subject, none of them were interested in this story. We did a video talking about the difference between this vessel and the other vessels, and all of a sudden the BBC and the CNN and all that were interested in talking to the people who run that vessel. So whether or not you agree with the sanctions, you can, if there are a set of rules to be followed, then you can follow them, right? I used to work with a captain years ago, and he used to make his own rules up on the ship. It was on a cruise ship. He used to make his own rules up. So you can't follow somebody like that, because he just decides in his infinite wisdom to change the rules whenever he feels like it. And, that's not something you can follow. If there's a set of rules written down, you can follow them, right? Regardless of whether you think they're right or not. In this instance, this is the only vessel that's been detained without any sanctions against the owner. And in fact, his other vessels, he has some other vessels. He has Fee Phantom, which was a support vessel built specifically to support Fee, and that is moving freely within the European Union. And he has another vessel, I'm not sure if he still owns it, it was for sale, Motor Yacht Aurelia. That's an awesome boat with Gulf colours painted onto it, which we covered in the Monaco Yacht Show. We did a tour around the boat. Those vessels are free to move around the EU because he's not under any sanctions. But in the UK, his vessel has been detained. Now, in March next year, March 2025, it will be 3 years since that vessel was detained. Now, like I said, in July 2023, they went to court and tried to get it freed. The ruling was by the court that they felt that it could impact Russia's shipping fleet, and the fact that he was not sanctioned was irrelevant. And then there was a second appeal in January of 2024, and he also lost that one as well. And the vessel remains in Canary Wharf in London. Now there is another date where it will go to the UK Supreme Court in January of next year. Now this comes at the same time as apparently the owner of the vessel, who people close to the vessel say his name is Sergei Naumenko. That was the name that was on the court papers. he apparently has been diagnosed with a terminal illness. And so he apparently sees this as a last-ditch attempt to free his vessel from Canary Wharf, and that will be in January 2025. Now, one of the things that I still don't understand, and we've not been able to get any replies from the UK government, but we were told last year that the vessel was going to be moved. A yacht like this needs to be maintained. They can't do that in Canary Wharf. There's no facilities there. There's no dry dock. There's nowhere for them to have proper maintenance done on the vessel. These vessels need to be highly maintained, and usually a vessel of this type would would be laid up in the winter and would go into some sort of maintenance period, whether it be, where she lays, or it might go to a shipyard and come out of the water. Certainly after 3 years, there would definitely be things that need to be done. And because the vessel's stuck there in Canary Wharf, it's starting to look rather dilapidated. We don't have any updated footage of the vessel, but it's got a lot of scaffolding on it now, and they're trying to do things in situ, but it's very difficult to do so. Now, what I don't understand is why the vessel wasn't allowed to be moved to a shipyard in the UK. Put a couple of Coast Guard people on board so the vessel doesn't do a runner, and let it go to a place where it can be serviced, right? I kind of see it as the equivalent of you being in prison and you're sick, right? They're not going to say, well, you're in prison, so you can't have any medical attention. So it's kind of, it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of the same thing. The vessel's detained, so allow it to go to somewhere where it can be repaired and have maintenance done on it. The stats of the vessel is a 58.5 metre, or 192 foot. I think it was at the time of its build. It's the largest vessel ever built by Royal Huntsman, and its value is approximately £38 million, which is about $50 million. So anyway, we'll move on to our next story, and that is that the Ocean Breeze VO70, this is the sailing yacht that lost a man overboard during a transatlantic. The vessel has now arrived at a destination in St Lucia after, like I said, losing one of her crew overboard. The man overboard incident launched a massive search and rescue effort conducted by the MRCC Norfolk in Virginia. That's the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center. And a number of vessels were diverted, including the Superyacht Project X. They were diverted into the area to see if they could find the crew member, who was later named as 33-year-old Swede Dag Aresund. Unfortunately, the crew member, even though he was wearing a self-inflatable life jacket and a PLB, a personal locator beacon, he was never found. His body was never found. Now, the search was called off after 18 and a half hours when they had faded. The light was fading and the weather was getting worse. Right in the middle of the Atlantic, they couldn't get any aircraft out there as well because of no aircraft could fly out there to do search and rescue. So the vessel had to sail on without the crew member. I can't imagine what it must have been like to do the rest of that trip. They did 6 more days across the Atlantic to arrive in St Lucia, approximately 500 hours UTC on the 8th of December. All right, guys, we'll move on. Keel has been laid for the latest build at Aberking and Rasmussen. 80-metre yacht is now in build. They have a bit of a ceremony whenever they lay a keel. The vessel was 79.95 metres, if you want to be exact. The keel will be known as Aberking 6516, and it was held at the site where it's going to be constructed in Poland. Now, the yacht is being built for the Ukrainian-American businessman and computer programmer Jan Koum. Koum founded WhatsApp, which was later sold to Meta for the astonishing amount of $19.3 billion in 2014. Koum owns other yachts. This is not his only yacht. This is his latest build. And the other vessels he owns, a motor yacht Moonrise. This is a 100-metre or 327-foot yacht built by Fedship in 2020. The vessel is at 3,500 gross ton, and it's approximately worth about $220 million. Now, that is not it. There is more. He owns another yacht that is he owns another project that's in build currently with Fedship as well, which is another 100-meter yacht, which is due to be ready in 2026. So yeah, so he's going to have 3 yachts. No idea why he's going to have 2 100-meter yachts. There's probably some logic to it. Sometimes they build a yacht and then they build another yacht almost immediately because it takes 4 or 5 years to build. And maybe it's going to be, even though it's the same length, 100 meters, it could be much bigger in gross tonnage. And maybe once that vessel's ready, he might sell the one that he's already got. So yeah, well, we'll wait and see for that. But that vessel is now under construction at Aberking and Rasmussen. I got one last story before we go. The yacht known as Putin's yacht by the locals in Italy, in Marina di Carrara. The vessel is back in the shipyard after a period of being out on what the AIS said it was called sea trials. The vessel, what did appear to be doing sea trials, it was moving around in a sea trial-y way, if you like. I've done sea trials on a number of yachts, and it sort of kind of looked like they were definitely doing that. The vessel was, at least at some portion of the time in the water, shadowed by military vessels. And like I said, the vessel's now back in the shipyard. It's interesting that the vessel has been out on sea trials. As far as we know, it's the first time. We did have some information saying it was going to do it a year ago around the same time. We don't know if it ever did or not. But as far as we know, this is the first time that the vessel's been out like this. Now, it's interesting, the timing, with the sanctions and the way things are working, and with the recent elections in the US, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those things moving forward. So, but it's curious as to why this vessel is suddenly moving around like this. Now, they've recently had massive amounts of work done on board, including a stern extension, which we reported on at the time, and a paint job. So the vessel has been in the shipyard and it's been in the dry dock for a long period of time. So yeah, it's interesting, the timing and everything. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the new year. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Be sure to check us out on patreon.com/eSysman. We've got our Patreon page there. We just posted, actually, I'll post a link in the description of this video. We posted a free video today for everybody, so you can watch it. You can, it's for free Patreon members. So if you sign up to Patreon for free, and then you'll be able to watch this video. I think that's how it works. It's a video that we actually posted for the paying patrons last year in 2023, and it's a behind the scenes video of when we went to the marina in Imperia. So that's a free video we've put out just to give you a taster of what it's like to be a member. So check it out. I'll put a link below. I think you have to sign up to Patreon, but you can sign up for free to watch that video. All right, guys, if you've got any information for us about any of the stories here or any others, you know what to do. You can get us in the email address in the ticker. You can get us on the About page of YouTube, and you can get us on social media, Facebook and Instagram and all that jazz. Be sure to like this video. Very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for future notifications. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.